This is a topic that I wanted always to find answers to, and yet there was this kind of sensitivity around it that I didn't know who I should ask or what exactly I should ask. So I always wanted to find answers myself, and here I am. I did a lot of researches. I tried to approach the topic from a logic and also spiritual um, point of view. So, first of all, I am not saying that what I'm going to say is the truth. No, this is just a discussion here for all of us, everyone who is going to listen, maybe. And I just want to point out that I am not a sheikh. I I am a human being. I do have mistakes. I may have something wrong with my point of view. Maybe you would want to give me your, I don't know, point of view of the thing, your perspective on it, and I will be open to receive these, you know, perspectives. I won't force anyone to believe anything that I'm going to say. I'm not going to force my own things that I searched for, that I looked for, onto anyone. This is not something that I'm going to take responsibility of. I am just here to discuss things. So let's go deep with it. So first of all, what is like hijab? What is the point of it? This is what we are trying to start off this conversation with. Is it to protect us from male gaze? It's a symbol of virtue, of faith. What is it about at this point? Because we don't know. We just felt so forced. I mean, not everyone, but at least in where I grew up, it was forced into us before we are even at age to wear it, to wear hijab. So at some point it lost why we are even wearing hijab. This, as I said, this is a discussion that I want you to be mindful of it. I want you to think of it. If divine is saying women need to cover their hair because men lack self-control, then that is not divine wisdom. That's just enabling bad behavior. If men's gazes are so dangerous, why isn't it men close your eyes instead of women hide yourselves? Wouldn't wouldn't you think that an all-knowing being like God, like Allah, would have a better system than just shifting responsibilities onto one half of humanity? I mean, I know that it says that we should look away, we should lower our gazes. Then, if that's being said, then why do we still need to cover our hair to protect us, like, from male gazes, you know? So the next part is, so for example of that, when God said that alcohol is haram, for example, he never said to cover or unalive the people who make it. When he said pork is haram, he never said to kill the people who trade it, or to cover pigs, or to trade them away. He never said that because I don't know, this doesn't make sense. The problem is with something, you can't push it into something else, you know? So now, if the divine see men as incapable of self-restraint, which is not true, but wouldn't it be more logical to make them the one with restrictions? For a long time, I tried to justify my doubts of hijab, that, oh, you know what, like hijab is like treating us like treasures, covering us so that no one can see our values, only one chosen people about how to see us, as women, privately. But women are not objects to compare to treasures. Treasures are locked in boxes. And this is literally dehumanizing, because I just wanted to make sense out of it. I wanted to see the bright side of it. I tried, really, but now let's just continue. So, treasures have no will, they don't breathe, think, or make choices. A treasure exists for someone else to own, to admire, and to protect. Okay? If someone truly values something, they don't lock it away. They respect its autonomy. Okay? If a woman chooses to be covered, then that is her own choice. But if the logic is you are too valuable to be seen, then this is not a protection. This is a possession. And this is something that we need to realize. And if it's about the part where making their men feel valued, why would women's visibility or expression, something that should revolve around men's feelings? If a man only feels secure in his worth because his wife is hidden from others, then he doesn't need a covered wife. He just needs a therapy, girl. Women are treasures that need to be hidden is basically saying that woman's value is conditional on how much she's seen, how much she's denied to the world. That is not a value, that is restrictions disguised as honor. So, we can just give an example and look at priceless art at museums. It is seen and admired and still respected, right? It is not shoved into a basement under lock and key because, oh, it is only valuable and only its owner should look at it. Girl, shut up. If hiding a woman's hair elevates her worth, this suggests that her worth is fragile. And I also feel attacked, okay? Because, yeah, I'm part of this. Like, she's a piece of glass shatters the moment she steps outside of her door without her hair covered. And this reminds me of a story that I had with me. It was I was a teenager at that time. It was the first time that someone, like, I opened the door for someone and they actually saw part of my hair, not even all of my hair. And I kid you not, I cried my eyes out that night. I didn't sleep the next morning. My eyes were swollen and red. And after that happened twice, and the same, I felt like shit. I wanted the earth to just crack open and bury me alive at that time. So this is how much it shouldn't be right. It should, I don't know, it feels off. It feels off if my value is from my hair being hidden. This is shit. This means that all the thing that I pour, all the work that I pour into myself is nothing. All the work that my family pour into me, it is nothing. This is what it means. So literally, a woman's value isn't a delicate thing. It is solid. This is what we need to realize. It doesn't lessen just because someone look at your hair. Please realize this. Make men valued That is just patriarchy trying to dress up insecurities as tradition and religion. This is the thing. This is egoism. This is not a divine wisdom. If this is the point of hijab, if it's the point of it faith, then I just wear hijab the time that I need to worship God, that the time that I need to pray for him. That's it. I don't need to go outside covering my hair, which I can't literally cover it all. Like they see my eyelashes, they see my eyebrows. What do you mean? I can't. They have like they would spot it. They would understand. If my eyebrows are thick, they would know that my hair is thick. They would imagine it. And there is a science. If we are going to science, if we are going out of the way just a bit, they made an experiment about men, and it turned out, you can't search it out, it turned out that men feel more attracted and more turned on when it comes to women more covered than like undercovered women. So this is nothing about male gaze. Let's put this straight out like this, okay? If a man needs a woman to be covered in order to feel special, then his worth built on on control, not love. A confident man, a mature man, a healed man, they do not need the whole world not to see their wives. They let her be. And they still feel confident enough to trust her. This is also another thing, that trust. Do you even trust your wife at this point if you just want her to be covered? Or are you even a man if you just want your wife to be covered because your family needs her to? There was a time that I was discussing this with a friend, and she told me a story about her father that once talked to her mother. She was like, her mother was fixing her hijab, so her own hijab, like her mother's hijab. So her father told like his wife, girl, imagine if Allah would punish you just because of a strand of hair. And just sit with me and think about it. God, with everything you've done, with all the zakat that you give, with all the good things that you did to people, with your full kindness, right? That God would literally dismiss all of that and only focusing on how many times a man saw that strand of hair. That it's literally like, I'm not going to talk about the parts of our bodies that need to be covered. The need, like it's a need to be covered. This is like mandatory, of course. But your hair, why? Why would it matter? Why would I get punished if I showed my hair? What a sin is this that would make me punished because of hair? So now going to the actual verses from Quran. So the first ayah is from Surah Al-Ahzab, and the second one is from Surah Al-Nur. So here we go with the explanation that I thought of. All right. So let's say from the first thing that I realized, God didn't say it clearly like how he did to other things that he said that wasn't allowed. In the verses, he asked to deliver his words. If it was mandatory, like adultery, I don't know, alcohol, pork, he would have said it directly in this verse with its own punishment, probably. Basically, he started it with tell them, not don't. He started it with tell them, okay? Not with don't. If it was mandatory, do you think he wouldn't say it directly? But it was more like, what do you call it? A guardianship? A guideline? A guidance? Rather than an order. Like a reminder. It was like a reminder. So a reminder of what, you may ask? Historically, these verses were revealed in a time when women in Arabia, they faced harassment. Covering wasn't just a spiritual instruction. It was a practical one, meant to distinguish free women from enslaved women, who were often harassed in public. So was this a divine command of all time or a contextual guideline for protection in that era? If you are like, you can search it yourself and you can find a lot of verses also in Quran. Basically, how can I know that there was slavery in that era of Arabia? You can see that by there was a lot of verses, a lot of things in the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad that shows that it was an atonement for a lot of sins, was freeing a slave in the 7th century in Arabia. You can search it yourself for more. There is a difference between encouraging modesty as a value and enforcing it as a law with punishment. And nowhere does the Quran say punish those who show their hair. There is no such thing. The reason why I wanted to believe that hijab, if it was something that we have to wear, I wanted to perceive it out of a place of love. That's why I was seeing hijab as treating as like a treasure rather than treating as like something dehumanizing, something that is not, it's not prepared to show in public, to show around people. No, it is our body, it is sacred. God gave us this vessel for our souls on this earth. I don't care how or where this whole thing came from, but we don't have slaves now. We don't have slaves now. They made us the slaves at this point. If these whole things were true, they made us the slaves for their control. They thought that they can just, I don't know, that they can keep this egoistic rule as in the name of divine, in the name of God, in the name of Allah. They can't hide the truth forever. Honestly, let's be for real. There is a lot of contradictions when it comes to what sheikhs they explain, when it comes to Quran. And the simplest example I can give is beating children. In my city, in my country, it is one of the most religious Islamic religious cities in the country. And there is a month where we do some spiritual gatherings, and women, they bring their children with them. And whenever they cry, like a normal children do, they beat the hell out of them. And I wanted to search if, like I was sure that it is haram to beat children. And guess what? I found out that some sheikhs, they said that it is haram, and the other said that it is not haram. There is also the thing about art. This is not the video about it, but I'm going to talk about it because why not? There is the topic of art, that if you draw someone, it means that you are challenging the power of the divine, the power of God, the power of Allah. If I hold a pen and a paper and write down, tell me, do the things that I write down challenge the power of Quran? Like, think about it. If I go and write a book, if I write a story, does it challenge Quran? No, of course not. So just don't overcomplicate things. Like, everyone nowadays trying to make us look at things from a perspective of everything is haram, fear, you will go to hell, instead of seeing things out of a place of love. Love is like, God is so full of love, God is so full of mercy, God is so full of prosperity, full of abundance. He gave us this earth to walk on it. And there is a verse that I will also include that encourage us, that tell us that he gave us this earth to walk on it. And look at humans, look at them, what they did. They are restricting it with law, they are restricting it with visa, with all of that shit. And it is literally our birthright. So not everything is what it seems. This is what I learned, and I hope that my video brought clarity. I hope my speech brought something that maybe would make you more certain of specific things, that would make you question it with your own logic. Because God, like Allah, he gift us this brain, he gift us this free will, he gift us this power of thinking that distinguish us from animals, from unliving things, for a reason. To think, not to fall for someone's trap, not to believe blindly what anyone says, but to think of it, but to ask ourselves, does this look divinely? So just believe in yourself, just think of it yourself, and yeah, thanks for listening.